Welcome you all once again to our video series, Rapport, in which we'll be having discussions with different people in different fields, experts, and they will give us a better understanding of the work that they do and the contributions that they give to their communities. Today, we have a very special guest, and I'd like her to introduce herself right now. Please, you're welcome.
Hi, my name is Apramita, and I am a speech and language pathologist, which means that I treat people with speech and language disorders like stuttering, which is the most common one and most popular one. I also see patients who've had a stroke and they've lost their language, which is called aphasia. Yeah, so that's what I do.
As you said, you are a speech pathologist.
Mhm. Yeah.
Wow. Out of the so many professions that are there, and I'm sure this is not a very usual one, what made you choose pathology as, your career?
I didn't choose it right away after like 12th standard. So we study school until 12th standard until we are like 17, 18, and then we choose a college. And when I was in 11th and 12th standard, I had literally had no idea what to do because I was just interested in many different things and I just couldn't make up my mind to like what to choose. The regular way in my community or my family was to go for engineering, which is like a very common Indian profession. And
Yes.
I tried as well, but then like it just didn't sit with me somehow at that point. So I went for architecture, and I mean, I was quite blessed because architecture is a field which just lets you free and it lets you kind of explore whatever the hell you want to explore. Like it doesn't like try to shove you inside a box or okay, this is what an architect should be like. Because even like when people are practicing, you see very different kinds of architects, or architects who've become writers, architects who've become musicians. So yeah, that really like inspired me to sort of look into different aspects of sociology in general, like look into different aspects of how people live. Because when I was studying architecture, we had to do a lot of case studies and we used to travel a lot. We would study settlements here, would study settlements in Meghalaya, for example, or like South India. So yeah, so I think at that point I became really interested in, oh, this is not how people where I live. This is like a very
Right.
different culture. So I was very interested in languages, and then coming back to the design part, I got very interested in like the architecture of the brain, because I visited like a brain museum once in Bangalore, and I was so fascinated, like because one of the doctors there was explaining me that, oh, if this part gets affected, this could happen to you. If this part of the brain
Right.
gets affected, this could happen to you. And I was like, okay, this is so similar to how we think about designing buildings. Because okay, if this part gets affected, this could fall down. So
Totally.
yeah, it was a very interesting overlap. And somehow when I was volunteering for an organization in Meghalaya, I came across a deaf school, and I looked at the ways they were communicating to them. They were using Tadoma, which is like a tactile language, where they use it for deaf blind. That's how deaf blind people communicate. And it was so interesting because they used their lips and their vocal
Um,
cords, and the touch. And another placement was here. So this is how they communicated, and this is how like they learned what you're saying. They knew what you're saying. So that was quite fascinating for me. And from there, I found out about this field, and I was like, okay, this sounds interesting, and I would like to try it out. Yeah, so I tried it out, and I really liked it.
And how has your experience been for these 3 years?
It's been good. Um, so if I tell you, like, I have seen people's lives transform and change. You know, I have seen people coming with like complete loss of language after a very difficult hemorrhage or stroke. I have seen like people with accidents who've come in, and I have seen people with like such severe stuttering that they wouldn't speak at all. And I mean, like one of the little boys that I was seeing wouldn't go to school because he had such a severe stutter. So I think at with therapy and with a couple of sessions, their lives like they just changed upside down. So I think I was very proud of what I did. But the interesting part is that this job kind of gets a bit repetitive at times
Oh,
because you have to like talk to them about the same techniques, talk to them about the same principles, because it is a science of repetition.
that's
Basically, like how much you repeat, that much you gain. So that is something that I'm not a big fan of. So, like when it comes to repetition, I started learning machine learning because that sort of can help in getting repetitive jobs better. So that is something that I'm considering to use in my field.
You did mention that you do work with people who have had strokes, and majority of those are elderly people, right? And you also
um,
work with children.
yeah.
How is it to work with everyone? I mean, from babies, from little children to old people, and obviously those in between. How is it to work with people
That's
from all ages?
well, that's a very interesting question, and it doesn't come easily to you. When you're in the profession, like when you're starting out in speech pathology, you are only introduced to working with children. And the first and second year, so in my profession, you start clinic from the first year. So in the first and the second year, the cases, the clients and the patients that you see are mostly children. And and that's what you think, okay, this is what speech pathology is, because like working with adults is a little more difficult than working with children, because working with adults also involves a trauma component, which comes with aphasia. Like if you have a stroke and you lose your language, it is a very traumatic experience. And a lot of adults go through PTSD after they like go through a stroke. So in the first and the second year, you think that, okay, this is the field of speech pathology. But in the third year, when you're actually introduced to adults, you're like, oh my God, this profession is so difficult. I want to quit now, because it is. I mean, on somebody in third year, it's damn difficult to like understand what that person went through. So it didn't come easily to me, because it came very awkwardly. Like, oh, you've lost your language. Now, what do I talk to you? Because you're not talking to me at all. You're an adult. You understand me, understand everything that I say, which is one kind of aphasia where they understand everything that we say, but they have like lost the ability to express it. So that became like a very awkward experience, because like, what do I talk to them about? Like, how do I do this? Like, but then yeah, over the years and with experience, it got quite easy. With kids, I think I was quite a natural, so it didn't take me a lot of time to play around and work with kids. But with adults, it was quite a difficult experience. But then, like, that kind of became my area of interest because it was so interesting, and it was so like heartwarming to see them achieve like a goal that we've set together, to start from like one word and achieve a paragraph or a story level or a narration level and a conversation level. That was like very heartwarming. So yeah,
Wow,
yeah, yeah. It's
that is
great
so
working
good.
with both the populations.
I'd like to know, what is it that keeps you moving forward? What is it that keeps you moving forward, that keeps you motivated every single day when you get out of bed to go to work? What is it that you have on your mind pertaining to your work that keeps you going on and on?
I think keeping myself like very keeping a very unpredictable schedule sort of gets me going. Being open to ideas, being open to art. I visit art exhibitions, and Baroda has like a great art scene, and I visit like art studios and exhibitions and galleries time and again. I talk to people who are creative. I think the creative witty aspect of what I'm going to do, because my path is not like a very common one. So the creative aspect of what I can do to help people really keeps me going, because it keeps me interested as well. Doesn't bore me, and it also like does something good. So that keeps me going. I think the aspect of problem solving keeps me going, because there are a lot of problems we haven't solved in this field. There are a lot of problems we haven't solved in the field of neuroscience. So brain is like a very interesting organ, and we're still figuring it out.
Yes.
The behavioral aspects of brain, the communicative aspects of brain. There is a lot of problem solving that has to be done, and there are tools that help you do it. There is tech, for example, there's art, there's rehabilitative professions. So these professions have sort of led me to look at the brain in a very different light. So I think that I have a very different perspective on how the brain is functioning. So yeah, I think the aspect of problem solving is really interesting for me. I'd like to solve like neuroscience problems when I grow up. And like I think yeah, 10 years from now, I see myself solving problems on a daily basis, and most of them would be like creative solutions. So that's
Wow.
like very, very exciting.